Welcome to self-discoverywisdom.com, formerly known as Self-Discovery Media. On these podcasts, you're going to hear people who speak from the heart. They've taken the journey in life. Many things have happened to them, but they've changed it to happening for them. And in their strength, their courage, they've discovered their abilities and their wisdom, and they are now sharing it here with you. Do enjoy each show. We bring it to you with love and knowing that it's going to help you on your journey of life. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everybody. Welcome back to another edition of Ignite Your Heart and Soul right here on selfdiscoverywisdom.com. I'm your host, Sarah Troy. My wonderful guest today is Dimitri Moraitis. We're going to be talking today about the divine light is the conduit of God's love. Grace, peace, wisdom, healing, and crystals can be used to amplify that divine light. So we do talk a lot about crystals through the years, don't we? Crystals and candles are certainly pretty and make wonderful gifts, he says. Both serve as much higher metaphysical purpose when it comes to meditating with divine light. Dimitri, a co-founder and co-spiritual director of the Spiritual Arts Institute and co-author of the updated 25th anniversary edition of Change Your Aura, Change Your Life, a step-by-step guide to unfolding your spiritual power, is guiding us how candles and crystals can be used as spiritual tools. While crystals and candles are very pretty, they are a conduit to God's grace. How do we tap into that divine light? How do we use these practices in a way that is going to amplify and purify and actually set the stage and the aura in which you can be heard and which you can reach out? I've got crystals behind me. I always have got them around me. I always carry them in my bag. You know, it's just something that I feel is a traveling companion that's got me, if you see what I mean. And so I find that crystals, more than candles to me, crystals are more of that something that kind of is, I can't say comfort, but just say, yeah, comfort keeps coming to word actually. You know, it's kind of comforting because it feels like that energy is with me, right? And that's something that always feels like it travels with me. So welcome to the show, Dimitri. This is a beautiful topic. Crystals and candles have been around forever, and people have been using them in all sorts of ways all the time. But I don't think they do actually understand the depth of how they can open up to our spirituality, how they can help us, you know, navigate that beautiful spiritual journey and open up to that channeling. So welcome to the show.
Well, thank you. Thank you for having me on. It's a pleasure to be here.
So the book is, you know, revised after 25 years. So obviously it stood the test of time, like
Exactly.
crystals.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
how did you get into understanding the value of crystals and candles and how to use them in a spiritual way?
Well, yes. Well, thank you again. The book is we. It's based on many years of experience too,
Hmm.
even before the 25. I came into metaphysics early in my life. I was in California to pursue a career in film and entertainment, and it was actually going pretty well. But I didn't even know what metaphysics was back then. But I just started to have these experiences that I couldn't explain really. They were wonderful. And that led to a very profound spiritual awakening. And about a year later, I met the co-author of the book, Barbara Martin, at a dinner party. She's a generation older than me. Unfortunately, she just passed recently. Um, and that night I realized, my God, she's my spiritual teacher. She's the one I've been looking for. So, and she was one of the most well known for her work with the auric field. I've never met anybody that could see the aura like her.
Hmm.
Um, and because people think it's, oh, I'm a green, you're a blue, and
Yeah.
a very simplistic picture of the aura, not realizing it's more complicated than your physical body is. There's
Hmm.
every facet of your consciousness is reflected somewhere in your auric field. So we started working together, and eventually, in those days, she had everything was inspiration. There were no books, and at one point, I said,
Right.
"Look, we got to get the book out there," because she was trying to write her aura book for years. And then that led to organizing a whole nonprofit, a whole course curriculum, and all the years of other knowledge. So that book has literally got a lifetime of clairvoyant experience and understanding in there. And the foundation of it is exactly what you just said. we started to write. Okay, got the encyclopedia here. It still took 2 years to write the book.
Mm,
We realized it was actually first a meditation book on how to meditate with divine light to change the auric field.
hmm
Because the divine law states that there's an energy in your aura, it will show up in your life. And if it's not in your aura, it just means you have to generate it. And so don't complain if something in your life isn't the way you want it. You maybe not generated that. You just mentioned love.
hmm
Well, if you don't, in the aura, love comes through as this beautiful, deep rose pink energy.
hmm
That energy isn't in your aura. Why are you surprised? Where's my love?
Yeah,
You
exactly.
to be that love, right? You want to, you want, what they say, want a friend, be a friend. Uh,
Yes. You
And,
want
and
love, be the love.
exactly,
Yes.
exactly. We keep thinking what somebody else is going to give us, and we're not thinking what we're giving out.
hmm
Nothing more attractive than love. So learning, we're doing it naturally just by the way we're living our life, but through meditation and the aura, you can accentuate what you were saying earlier about drawing.
hmm
Yes, as an act, you said it beautifully, as an act of grace. The light comes in initially as an act of grace, but then we have to apply it. So if I
Exactly.
call on this loving energy and I feel embodied in love, but I go out and still be mean and surly, I'm counteracting that.
Yes. Yeah. You're not truly being it. You're doing it. You're not
Exactly.
being it. And there's a
Exactly.
difference there, isn't there? When you
Exactly.
are being it, it is a part of you. It becomes your auric essence of what you are portraying.
Right.
And, a lot of people are busy doing meditation, doing spirituality, but they're not being it. They're not encompassing it
Yeah.
and taking it in because it is truly your aura precedes you. So if
Exactly.
you are being it, people are going to feel you before they see you.
Exactly. And that's why they say, well, why should I work with the aura if I can't see it? Well, the goal is not seeing it. First of all, you do sense it.
Hmm
You can sense it from people, you can sense it from places,
Yes.
things like that, and you can respond to that. But just like you said, you've got to, what did Gandhi say? Be the change you want to see in the world.
Yes.
So as you are what these energies are, you'll be changing and you'll be helping others far more than you realize just by your presence. Now, it's not always easy to do that. For example, the energy and the aura of prosperity is this turquoise light, this beautiful turquoise light. And yes, we do recommend wearing turquoise and like the turquoise stone and things like that. But let's say I'm worried about money, I can't pay my bills and things like that, and I bring in this turquoise and I feel that prosperity consciousness, but then I go back to worrying about my money. I'm counteracting. So
Yeah.
it may be that the situation hasn't immediately changed because you meditated, but you have changed. And
That is the point, isn't it? Yeah.
it will manifest. People, the other thing is people quit too quick. They're trying to do something new. It doesn't turn over right away. I guess it wasn't meant to be. What do you mean you haven't even begun to try?
Yeah. Yeah. The whole thing is um feed what you want to grow.
Well, there you
Don't
go.
feed the doubt and the worry and the obstacle.
Exactly.
Feed the solution what you want to grow and keep feeding it, right? And
Exactly.
that it will in its own time change, but it's also we have to change our perspective. We have to change our verbiage of
Yes.
how we address things because what comes out of our mouth, what comes out of our thoughts is what the universe picks up. So if
Right.
we change that I am abundant, I am enriched,
And
right?
you can't just say it can't be a parrot. What
Right.
does the Bible say? It's not what goes in the mouth that defiles it, what comes out.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so we have things, and it's like that Celtic song, right? Where love's planted, there's where love will grow. So
Yeah.
exactly what you're saying. And we have to nurture this. It also means, today with all this overstimulation, we
Mm,
sometimes try to do too many things, and we can't forget the essentials. We can't forget the people that are most important in our life. We have to, right now, we're talking, people are starting to have relationships with robots,
mhm.
and artificial. Those are not people. That is not consciousness. You want to interact with people, and technology is, well, this way it's bringing, let's say,
Yeah.
us
It's a
together.
tool.
The tool,
Yes.
exactly. But don't let it replace life. Don't let it replace
Yeah.
important
Yeah.
in life. Yeah.
You need the heartbeat.
exactly.
if for me, it's always been, the universal knowingness, knowing what you need to know when you need to know it. And that is that trust of that knowledge that comes to you, which is a compass of wisdom that's
Right.
given to your heart in truth and resonance. And then your spirit picks it up in action, and your mind will know what it needs to know in clarity, what it needs to know when it needs to know it. And it's that kind of trust of allowing. And I think so much we dictate what we want things to be and how we want them to be, that we actually don't allow
Hmm.
what is meant to be for us, because the universal wisdom knows so much more than we do. And if we trust that wisdom, it will always guide us where we need to be.
Well, that's the key, though. We have to let that surrender a little bit.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
need nobody. I don't need nothing. I can figure it all out by myself, right? And we shut ourselves off when we
yeah.
do that. Inspiration, and you said earlier, a lot of it is actually changing the perspective of
Hmm.
right. If we put on certain blinders, life will reveal to us, oh, this is not going right. Well,
Right.
okay, is there something I need to change in myself
Yeah.
to affect this change? And then once I change, then things in the outer will start to change. And even, the other things we have to remember, we're not in control of everything going on around us,
No.
but we are in complete control of how we're handling what's going.
Yes. Our choice. Our
Yeah, that's
choice.
the measure of our spiritual growth. And
Yeah.
and we talk a lot about choice, but choice isn't just about self-gratification.
Hmm.
Choice is about learning to align with those divine laws of life out of free will, not
Hmm.
because about, people think, oh, the angels they're compelled, they have no free will, they're compelled to do. No, of course they have free will. There would be no creativity if they were forced to do what they were
Yeah.
doing, you know. And
It also wouldn't be so pure.
yeah, exactly.
You can't have, force and purity do not go together, oil and water. It is fluidity, and it
Mhm.
comes from the generator of love. Everything baseline is love.
Right. Exactly. Exactly. And that's one of the hardest lessons that really we are learning the lessons of love.
Hmm.
Road to enlightenment is paved in love. So if you say I love God, but I could take or leave everybody else, then that's not really love, right?
No, no. And it's, love your enemy. It doesn't mean you have to agree or condone. Is that if somebody is in such hatred, there is a lacking of love within them. Wish them love. Wish them that love can penetrate through that hate. It doesn't mean you're condoning actions, but, to hate them is counteractive, because there's already enough hate there, right?
And then it's building in your own aura.
Yeah,
So the minute you hate them, you're starting creating the energy of hate is a horrifying energy in the auric field.
yeah.
If you saw what you were creating by your hatred, you wouldn't do it. Now you see these suicide bombers and
Hmm.
all saying they're doing this for God. No, they're not doing it for
No.
God. They're doing it for the object of their hatred.
Hmm.
Right. So that's that, and so it comes back to that same energy then. But the goal is, our aura is, we're human, we're not perfect. So right, we're gonna have these blemishes. We're gonna have some of the lower energies. If we got really angry at somebody, that's gonna show up as kind of a dirty, vitiated red color. All right, you don't need to see it. If you know you got angry, you just need to clear that energy out.
Yes.
Yeah. What I
Yeah.
tell people, I don't have the luxury of an unenlightened emotion. Even if I feel justified,
Mm.
okay, you really did step on my toe. If I get all upset about it, I have a Greek background. Greeks love to be emotional, and you know, is that really
Like
so?
Italian.
Yeah, exactly. Same Mediterranean kind of spirit there. Is it really solving anything? Are you
No.
okay? You vented, you maybe got some kind of visceral pleasure out of that, but it really didn't take you anywhere, and it just binds you to that.
Mm.
And the compassion, what we also have to realize is people do terrible things, but the life within, the soul, is inherently good. Even when we're doing, you know, evil's a behavior, right? It's things we're
Yes.
doing that's contrary to laws, but it's not the essence. So real spirit, real love, real compassion can see beyond the veil. Mother Teresa said, I see the face of Christ in everyone I help. She
Hmm.
meant she was seeing people in their worst moments,
Yeah.
most destitute, most desperate. It's easy to get caught up into sympathy, but she could see beyond that. And she knew some of these little children like weren't going to make it.
Hmm.
But she said, I'm here to give them their sense of dignity. to know that they have value in the world. Of course, she was trying to save their life, but at the same time, she was not seeing this sick child in front of them. She was seeing this precious soul that was
And
going.
some of those souls are contracted to only be here, a beacon of light for a reason, for a short period of time. We don't know what our soul contract is, right? And or how it's going to take us. So, you
That's
know.
another subject we could go to, karma and the Holocaust. Yeah,
Talking about emotions is that, I always say that, spend your emotion, get it off your chest, all right? Because don't pent it up, but don't become emotional about it, right? And, we can get angry if we get cut off, but take a deep breath, let it go, right?
right.
And that's one of the things that as human nature, we're inclined to hold on to, and then it ferments and ferments and ferments, and suddenly the lid goes off and you've forgotten what the root cause was. It just like gathers as it goes rolling down the hill. And I think that's what we need to be in check. Okay, you can be mad in the moment, get it off your chest, so, but don't let it,
Fact.
consume you or take you down that path, because for my son's wedding, I did a speech because my
Oh,
son just got married, and my speech was the analogy of the garden. Plant things that are going to grow over years and years and years, deep rooted, tall and strong. Plant things that you prune that will come back every year. And then, of course, the fun of the seasonal stuff of what you're going to plant all the time. But be careful of the weeds,
mhm.
because those weeds love to grow in places that you don't think are there. And if you don't take care of those weeds, you will have a weed garden and not a beautiful garden. And that's true to everything in life, isn't it? Is
Right.
pay attention to those little things that, if not addressed, and released, will end up getting its roots in you.
Oh, and it makes it much harder than to release it, the
Yes,
and it
yes.
built. Yeah. Well, it's interesting. My father was a psychiatrist, so at dinner time, mental, emotional was kind of
Mhm,
tabled there. But studying with Barbara and the aura, it was so fascinating to realize, okay, we've got this. Well, if the aura is the first place you make changes in your life, your
mhm,
chakras within the auric field are the first place you make changes in the aura. So we have this mental chakra here, which is the nucleus of our thinking nature. So everything we're thinking is radiating energy from here. But down by the navel, there is an emotional center.
mhm.
So where feeling is radiating. So thoughts and feelings are not in the aura anywhere near the same place or the same energy flow.
Right.
And what Barbara used to say was, from decades of studying auras and helping people, not all the time, but generally the weakest chakra was the emotional.
Yes, yes.
You could be
Because
smart as
it's
a
the
whip.
weed.
Well, we let it be because we forget that emotions don't think, they feel. The
Yeah.
job of emotions is not to do the thinking. The mind is meant to think, but the emotions give life to the thoughts. But too many times we decide our decisions by our emotional mood, and that's
Mm,
like getting in a car, pressing the accelerator, and just say car go. No, nobody's steering the ship, and of course
right.
it's going to crash,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Yes, emotions make life fun, we get our joy when we
Hmm.
engage with something. But yes, we may have noticed that, say, when we get some very sudden news, it could be good or bad. There's that moment where it's just a thought and we say, oh, it hasn't sunk in. And then we emotionally engage and say, oh my God. And it all
Hmm.
kind of, but like you said, if it's a negative thing, if you can catch it, I know it's not easy to do,
No.
but if you can catch it before you get those emotions riled up, because it is like a freight train, once
Hmm.
you get out of the box, it's going to move in, and you can't change your emotions on a dime.
Hmm.
Your thoughts can change quickly, but not the emotional momentum.
Hmm.
So decide, where do I really want to put my emotional emphasis?
Yeah.
Because if you're going to be productive, what happens is it goes from the mental to the emotional, and then the heart chakra is the action center. So we say it's think, feel, do. You have
Mm.
an enlightened thought, you'll have an enlightened emotional reaction, and it will produce an enlightened result. So if you say, oh, I really like this person, and you have an emotional reaction to that, you're going to do something expressing that kindness or that affection. Or, if you say, God, I really hate that person, and you have that emotional reaction, that negative, no matter how diplomatic you try to be, you're going to do something that's not really, there's your karma starting up again. That's
Yeah.
not going to be
You
moving
may
in.
not say anything at all, but your body speaks volumes.
Right. And the thing the things you're getting. Then you start rationalizing things,
Mm,
right? People like bosses may say, "No, you didn't deserve that raise," and they
mm,
really did, but you were just jealous because you thought that guy may do a better job than you,
right.
right? So your motivation was not it was selfish, and of course that creates a negative energy and momentum, which will eventually swing back. So we should definitely watch the emotional life, and as you say, nurture it, because if we harp you don't want to indulge the emotions, but you also want to be in touch with them.
Yes,
You
yes.
know,
It's do not deny them. They're there for a reason, right?
right. But and you can transmute them. If you
Hmm.
recognize there's an emotion that's really not, I really feel like doing something terrible right now. You can redirect. It's like a river. The river's always flowing, but you can direct the current. And a big part of our meditative work is to bring more light into the emotional part of us. Because when you get that part of you very strong, then it's like the engine of the ship. I like to think of it like, okay, if our body is like a ship, the people on the ship is the soul, or like that.
Hmm.
Okay, the captain is the mind, the navigator, where the captain says that's where the ship is going, and the emotions are the engine room. They're propelling the ship into the direction that you're going there. So when you get everything together, that ship of your life, you're making these decisions, these choices that are giving the soul the enriching experiences that it needs to evolve, to grow, to develop itself.
Hmm. You know how we say to people, take a breath? And there's a
Not that then.
there's some real big reasons for that because when you are taking that breath, one, two, or three, you immediately have lined up your chakras. Everything kind of opens up. So everything that can calm you, slow you down before you jump into that emotion is there, right? So taking that breath and just coming back to center can stop you from going out that way. And it's such a simple thing, but it's that realignment, isn't it?
Mhm. And also realizing you don't have to be reactive.
Right,
You know,
right.
was a company, and this is not even spiritually related. It was a phone where they're doing it was phone service, customer service on the phone, and the department was not being very productive. So they hired this kind of specialist to say, how can we make the department more productive? And one of the simple things was, when the phone rings, don't just grab it and pick it
Right.
up. Take a beat, make sure you've got, your
Mm,
center, then pick it up.
yeah.
So you're not just knee-jerk reacting. And we do that in life. We're too often knee-jerk reacting to things, and then we wonder why we're playing the role of the victim. Well,
Mm.
because you're reacting to every little thing going on around you.
But the point of taking that pause before taking an action is you are actually honoring the person on the other side. You kind of set the stage to receive whatever the question or whatever it is on the other side. If you were immediately you're dismissing the other person and what they need, as opposed to inviting them to share what it is they need. So I think it's kind of setting that stage and letting people know I am here to serve you.
Right. And you're also, though, protecting yourself,
Yeah.
because what if that phone call's angry?
Oh yeah.
And the energy coming through is not so kind, right?
Yes.
Which is unfortunately happens too much, let's say, in customer service, right?
Hmm.
And if you just are vulnerable, so the spiritual protection means, there's another law in the aura is no energy can enter your aura unless somewhere you're permitting it.
You're right.
So if someone gets angry at you and you don't get angry back at them, you have not let that energy, they're not realizing it, but it's not just angry in words. There's an energy getting projected at you. If you don't accept that anger, it doesn't enter your aura. If you
Right.
do, it does.
Hmm.
That's why things escalate into a fight, because then
Yeah.
you get back into reactive. So it's doing both. It's honoring, like you're saying, what does the Namaste say in the thing? The divine within me greets the divine within you.
Hmm.
Within you greets the divine within me. And that's really the way we should approach every relationship. Adversarial, friendly, whatever it is, in the same light. We all have that spark of life within us, and we all deserve that treatment that you're describing.
Hmm. I think, going back to thoughts and I'm a person, I must feel my knowledge, not think my knowledge. If I think my knowledge, it's programming data that I've picked up or that's been imposed upon me. It was just, you know, universally whatever everybody else is doing. When I feel my knowledge, then I understand the wisdom of what I need to know in that knowledge, what that knowledge is relevant to my situation. Because I find that very often, if we just stay in thought and don't bring forth, the wisdom, that essence of opening and understanding, we are just repeating patterns that just may look different, but we're repeating the same patterns all the time. When we come from that place of that wisdom and trust, right? Because the heart trusts it. And the spirit knows how to go in and get that relevant knowledge, then I truly think we really understand the intellect and the knowledge that is there. But I feel that so many people are just living from the chin up and they're not encompassing the heart, the spirit, and the soul in
Well,
the equation.
right. Unfortunately, we still live in an era where we worship the intellect too much.
Hmm.
It's very important. We need to have a very
Yes,
strong, sharp mind,
yes.
but the intellect's not where inspiration's coming from.
Hmm.
It's not where the divine, it's a tool of the divine. So you're right. It's like one of the sayings we have in our classes is truth is not truth till it lives in your heart.
Mm, hmm, hmm.
You can know, I can understand something that you said, let's say right now, okay, that makes complete sense. What you're saying, Sarah, it makes complete sense. But that's an intellectual thought.
Right.
It doesn't mean I'm living it.
Aha.
So, or I could say, for example, oh gosh, I need to be more patient. I'm a little impatient. It didn't even take me 2 seconds to say that. And that could be a truth, but it could literally take me 20 years to be patient.
Yes.
But we like to say to people, that's 20 years well spent.
Yeah,
Because when the soul learns it, when
yeah,
it's here, you're going to retain it. It's going to be part of your soul expression. Earth is a schoolhouse. The soul is here to learn and grow. And it doesn't learn through the intellect, it learns through experience.
yeah,
It has to go through these experiences. That's why the ancients would say, in patience, you possess your soul, because it does take time to go
yeah.
through the lessons. Now, of course, you want the mind sharp, because that's how you're steering your ship.
Hmm.
But don't think because exactly what you're saying, because you have head knowledge,
Hmm.
that it's in your heart, that it's part of you. Let
A
it.
good sailor knows how to feel the wind, trust the instincts, right? The head and the radar may say, oh, it's fine to go ahead. But the heart and the soul goes, no, 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 no. There's something here now. Pay attention to your instincts,
Well,
right?
that's
Because,
what I worry about with all this technology is, are we
mm,
losing a little bit? Now the
yeah,
ships are guided by computers, right? But those old sailors probably knew the waters better than any computer will
yeah,
ever. You
yeah,
know?
yeah. And you're right. There's a place for everything, but do not succumb or surrender to the easiness of the technology because again it is a tool for you to
Right.
help manage, do not lose that essence. And it's like I do feel that humanity in many ways has lost that. They've forgotten how to tune in, to trust those instincts. um they're so heightened sensory in the wrong senses, stimulation, instant gratification, overloading, that they just don't know how to hone into what is the heart saying? What is the soul saying? How does the spirit feel? We don't slow down enough to go, where am I in my center? Or am I off out there somewhere flapping in the wind?
Right. Well, part of it is we're we're kind of redefining our spirituality as a society right
Yeah.
now. And we live too much, many, especially when you're dealing with technology, live too much in literally the material consciousness. There
Hmm.
is no soul, there is no spirit. It's just atoms and energy floating around. So when you're in that mindset, you're going to immediately limit what you can do. This is what the Hindu philosophy called the world of Maya, right? The
Hmm.
world of illusion. They weren't teaching that this world is illusory, but if we think it's just the physical rock around the sun, that's an illusion
Yeah.
because that's not the full picture. So one of the things we've got to kind of somehow break through right now is, okay, great. The more we're learning about the physical world, actually, the more the demand to know more about the spiritual world.
Yeah.
So, what this century is offering is a more mature understanding of the life of spirit than maybe 2,000 years ago or
Hmm.
4,000 years ago, because we know more about the world, so we can comprehend if we see the divine signature in everything around us rather than just see randomness,
Hmm.
realize there is a greater plan. We're part of that plan, and we can participate it in a more mature adult way. But it will also help us prioritize. You're hearing crazy stuff now where they're giving citizenship to robots, and they're they're losing their sense of orientation, or a new robotic species. This I know this is just imagination as we're
Hmm.
getting the new era right now, but it's telling you, well, how far can you carry that materialistic consciousness before the soul starts to feel, because the soul is not material and it's going to keep crying out. And the more
Yes.
you yourself in
Yes.
material consciousness, and now you see, well, it's kind of going out, all fantasy movies are bigger than ever right now.
Hmm.
Why? Because the mind needs something that's out of all of this mundaneness. And so it's searching in all these other areas right now. And what we're, and I'm sure you're doing this too, is that the goal is, let's try to reassign metaphysics back its proper place in the study of human development. In the ancient days, it wasn't superstition. There was
Hmm.
superstition in those days, but they understood, that there was a life of spirit. And maybe part of the reason it was easier to understand it then is people did tend to live much closer to nature, right?
Yes.
And let's say at night when it was dark, you just sort of slowed down. You just were living in the natural rhythms more. And now, we can live 24/7. These lights can be on 24/7 a day. I can be living in kind of this artificially created environment, which will pull me away. The Indians say, don't leave your, don't be too far from your feet on, on the earth, the good of the earth. So it's like, oh, I haven't even been barefoot on the earth in a long time. I live in the city. Again, all these things have an effect if you're get too detached from there. And it's your job. I'm just reminded real quick, I went to college in New York City, the Big Apple. Oh my God,
Hmm.
that is an intense place. So
Oh,
much energy.
very much.
And
24/7.
I love it. And literally, it took me 2 years to get a good night's rest because
Mm.
exactly what you said, it's city and never
Mhm.
slept, right? And I love nature, and it'd been almost 2 years since I'd been out. I went to visit a friend in the suburbs. I got out of the train, and it was an open field, and I literally ducked like somebody had thrown a blanket over me, right? And I realized I won't be able to live a long time in that city because it pulled me too much away from
I hear you.
nature.
I'm living in an area right now where there's trees all around me and green belt all around me, and there's people around me.
Yeah.
But there's also deer. I'm 5 minutes to this shopping center and that shopping center, but I am literally surrounded by thousands and thousands of trees and ocean, which for me, at night, there's very little light out there.
Hmm.
And you can I've only been here since beginning of May. I came from Victoria where there was constant traffic going down the road, there was constant noise, and it's just a sense of peace here that my mind has more clarity because it hasn't got interruption. And
Right.
I'm not a person to meditate cross-legged on the floor. I won't be able to get back up. For me, meditation is a way where I let my mind wander away from my thoughts and take it to where it wants me to see and what it wants me to see. And I can feel that wisdom without interruption. And, that is what it kind of helps me hone in. And I think we'll have to find what path is our path to our peace, to our center. And, it can be a different path for each person, but we really need to acknowledge what that path is. And, going back to crystals, there are certain crystals that we pick up that speak to us. That whenever I get a crystal, it has to speak to me. It has to say, yes, I'm the one. It may look pretty, but it's something that I hold and it goes, yes, I
Affinity.
feel your energy. Yeah. And I know that the energies are matched and I know it's going to enhance that energy even more. And I think going back to, feeling again, the thought, feeling, not just emotional feeling, but feeling entwined with yourself, feeling your own essence, understanding your core, knowing when something feeds you and when it doesn't feed you. and kind of honing in on that. We've lost the art of that. And I think so many people are screaming for it and are
Well,
needing the aids to help them down that path.
right. And meditation is the master key. So
Hmm.
we encourage everybody to do is meditate. Meditate daily. There's many different kinds of
Hmm.
meditations. My God, now there's even apps on your phone to meditate.
Yeah.
But like you said, meditation is not walking on a beach. It's not movement.
Yeah.
Movement has to be in a sort of meditative state, walking on a beach. But real meditation, the body is still. And actually, in our meditation, yes, we don't sit cross-legged.
Hmm.
We're sitting chair flat, sitting upright, feet flat on the floor, because the energy is coming down from
Yeah.
below. And you are in the stillness, you have to develop that for some. And in there, you are connecting with the inner life,
Hmm.
up the inner power within you. So then when you finish your meditative state and you go back into the activity of life, you're empowered. So let's say in meditative state, I decide I do need to work on my love flow and I'm going to bring in the loving energies and all of that, and I feel wonderful. Well, then I've got to be that love afterwards, right?
Yeah.
If there's that person at work I'm usually a little short to, oh, no, I'm going to show a lot more kindness to you. You have to employ it.
Hmm.
And that, as we kind of said at the beginning, then it starts to integrate. Now, in our particular work, we use crystals to accentuate the meditative
Hmm.
experience. So it does act as a little bit like a fulcrum, like a lens, like a magnifier.
Yeah.
So for example, okay, in our work, we would work with the deep rose pink, which is the loving energy,
Hmm.
could include the rose quartz crystal, which you prepare, and it does have to be tuned into your vibration to act a little bit like a lens to amplify that that loving energy. And we find crystal works very well when, okay, let's say you really have had a tough day.
Hmm.
And it's been a little bit hard for you to really focus on your meditation or really welcome that energy in. Well, you got a little buddy here, so to speak, and you could hold it or put it on on the chakra that you want it for, and it will help to kind of accentuate the power already coming in
Hmm.
because, as you're saying, there's a whole mineral kingdom, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
As Kabbalah says, the stone becomes the plant the animal the man the God. So there is an inner life within these gems, and they can work with us. So they're wonderful additions to a meditative practice. The foundation, though, is you do have to meditate.
Hmm.
I would say one thing from today's talk, and the book really is about meditation,
Hmm.
at least 20 minutes a day. And don't make it when you're exhausted. Try to make it at the prime time of your day,
Hmm.
centerpiece, and just watch how everything just starts to fall more in line. Because you're putting the divine first. You're putting things in divine order. You're
Mm.
saying, no, there is a greater power in the universe that it's not lording over me, but it's working cooperation with me.
Right. Yeah.
Cooperative effort.
Collaborating. Yes.
Exactly.
Hmm.
And I need to be in tune with that. And your life will have more joy, even if you haven't solved the mysteries of life. Yeah.
Even if so few people are doing the 9 to 5 at an office anymore. So many people work from home or dual working, but it's taking that time to be still. I think one of the things as human beings we've forgotten how to be still. And
Mhm.
even if you're just sitting, shutting everything down, shutting the noise out, closing your eyes, following your breath, and just allowing yourself to be still. The chatter is around you, and as the more and more you go in, the chatter becomes less. And you kind of go into that peace that is lying within you. When you come out of that, it's almost like you've had a night's sleep. You feel so refreshed, and everything just becomes so much clearer, and you're so much more productive. Right? But it is the art of that. I had a monk on here that would take people into Times Square to meditate amongst the chaos. They say, do not meditate just in silence. You've got to know how to meditate in the chaos, how to switch the chaos around you and be the mountain. And
Mhm.
that is a conscious art. But the more you do it, the more you're able to shut the chatter off
There
and
you
kind of come into self because the silence within is where the clarity is.
Right, right. And also now when people start meditations, they usually say if there's two complaints, the two complaints are I don't have time to meditate
Right.
and I have the monkey mind.
Hmm.
I can't quiet my mind, you know. Now, the first, of course, you make time for what's important in your
Yeah,
life. If you're saying, this is just not important, then why are you surprised if it isn't giving you very much?
exactly.
Right. So just make it important. The second is very much what you're saying. The mind is like a muscle, right? And if
Mhm,
you notice that your thoughts tend, and not just in meditation, in life, just thoughts tend to run away with you, almost like your thinking is controlling you, then you just have to reclaim it. And you just
mhm,
have to strengthen the mind. We do recommend even concentration exercises to learn to focus the mind. Raja Yoga, is hugely a mental discipline to
mhm.
learn to control this part of you, because it's not the soul here, the soul is down
Yeah,
here. But if this is the navigator of the soul, you want that mind to be in, you want to be in control of your mind.
yeah.
Then if that chatter starts to calm down, you have that ability not to, okay, I'm meditating for 2 minutes, I'm already thinking what I'm going to have for lunch, what am I going to do after lunch, what am I going to do? That's not concentrating, right?
Right.
that's
No.
not that's not meditating. But sometimes you just have to just do what you're doing. Just sit. Let's say maybe the first couple of times you're just giving the time, and yeah,
Hmm.
your mind is kind of rambling, but you're still giving the space.
Hmm.
And as you keep at it, then you start to slowly get better and better and better. And I mean, I've been doing the meditation with the light for 40 years.
Hmm.
Far more exciting now than, well, it was very exciting then. It's even more exciting now. So
Right.
there aren't many things in life you say that the more you do, the more
Yeah.
you,
And of course, sound, like, we have, various monks sings home, sometimes that kind of helps you concentrate on the one thing. Kind of maybe it's focusing in on your breath,
yeah,
one word, and it's like, it's just a kind of a discipline. Work out what works for you, right? And then, use that tool that
right.
helps you hone into it.
Well, actually, in our work, we do what's called meditative prayers. So
Hmm.
we combine prayer and meditation.
Hmm.
So meditating is the act of receiving the energy. Prayer is the petitioning, the sending out. So we do verbalize. It's interesting you're talking about sound. We verbalize the prayer. So if I wanted the deep rose pink, yeah, I could do just a visualization. That's nothing wrong with that. But if you really want to also help focus, like you're saying, your mind and make sure you're getting, you verbalize. I request that you downray the deep rose pink and where you want it and what you want it to do. And it starts to zoom into very specific areas. And then you may realize, okay, I bring it down to my mental, I'm fine. Oh, but when I brought it to the word, it was hard to do that. Oh, yeah, I got really angry. I said some bad things.
Hmm.
Then you realize, oh, I need a little more work there. I got something literally got stuck in my throat,
Hmm.
A really interesting example of the love ray. We were doing a workshop on love and relationships, and there was a woman that was there, and uh, she had a very specific job skill, and usually she had absolutely no trouble finding work because not many people had that skill.
Hmm.
But in this one case, she couldn't find a work to save her life, and and not in a course on career, on relationships. We said, okay, we're going to work with that loving energy and do the forgiveness work. And she said, you know what? I think I'll forgive my last boss because we didn't leave on good terms. And she did this forgiveness, and she was a little bit clairvoyant herself. She said, I saw this dark cloud in front of me. This
Mm.
own anger. I was seeing my own anger and
Yeah.
hate to this man for the way things were left when I left that job. And she saw that energy start to dissipate, that anger and hatred, and literally called us within the week. I got another job.
Yeah. We get in our own way
Yeah.
because we hold on to things that are holding us back or are causing blockage. We are fluid creatures. Our blood, our oxygen, our energy must constantly be in flow within us and around us. And if things get stagnant or have a blockage and the flow isn't there, that's when things start to break down mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually. And sometimes we don't know where that is. And that's when it's even more important to be still and
Right.
go, what is holding me back? And let it come to the forefront to understand.
That other part you just said is important. We have to be honest with ourselves.
Yeah,
So we
yeah,
don't ask, we just are still, but don't ask the questions that you just asked and are willing to hear the truth
yes.
because it's not going to be a pleasant thing.
No, don't argue with it. Don't argue with it. Yes, but no, 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 yes,
But I
but
always like to remember truth in the end sets you free. In the
yes,
beginning, it may sting a little bit. Oh,
yeah,
that doesn't like me? I thought they really did.
Yeah,
But then you realize, okay, it's opening the door for other things. Because in this case of the woman, she couldn't find work because energetically she was still in her old job.
exactly.
It would
Yes.
bind her to her old job. The
And that's
minute
what people were picking up. They were picking up the old energy, right? Not her gifts, her
it
old energy.
happens when people divorce and they say,
Yep.
why can't I find another love? Well, because you're still sour on the divorce. And
Right.
now you're looking for love. Release that.
Yeah.
Say, and also some people, I guess, do victimize themselves. They think they can't release it.
Hmm.
They, no, I can't let go of that. That's just part of who I am. No, no. You can let go of those hurts. You can let go of those angers. You can let go of those resentments. They are literally, as you're saying, just holding you back.
Yeah.
And
Now,
if you,
what if somebody is very empathic and feels energy, and you can feel it from various people, and like the words are saying something? Oh, yes, I like you, and you can feel the energy has got something against you. How do you deal with that? Because yes, you have to let that go, but unfortunately, that person is always going to be in your proximity. So, but you could feel one energy, but the actions and words are saying something else. How do you navigate around that?
you mean like in a job or in a family
Yeah.
situation, something like that? Yeah. So we have to first start by realizing, right, every relationship in our life is an opportunity,
Hmm.
even the adversarial ones, right? And then also, again, it goes back to sometimes people are almost like, now this may not be what you were referring to, but they can be highly sensitive.
Hmm.
So, oh, it's so easy to hurt their feelings. It's
Yeah.
so easy to upset them. So we would call that's a weakness in the aura, because what's happening is something's trying to push in. You have no strength to say no.
Hmm.
And then, of course, it starts to turn you upside down. So building up more power in you so that you have that ability to refuse that energy. Now, if you don't need to be with that person, why are you there? If
Right.
it's just like beating you up, what's the point? But if it's a relationship you just can't walk away from, then you have to ask, what's my lesson here? What is the
Yeah.
opportunity here? What is it in this situation I am learning? Barbara was um, counseling somebody once and had a very, tough husband, let's put it that way. And people say, "Oh, poor you, you got this." But she said, when you looked at her, she was just taking it all. She
Yeah.
was not stand. So there was a lesson for her, not that he was tough, but that she needed to toughen up.
Yes.
She needed to show, and not beat him up,
Right.
but
Exactly.
just not
Well,
take it.
it's kind of building up your own essence and your own aura, which is your boundary.
Right, right.
So,
So
kind of what I've looked at is it's do not let it change you. Not everybody's going to accept you, especially the more and more you do step into your own core love and being. As you said, other people may look at it and they realize, I'm not there. I resent this person for being there, or I feel this person is seeing my weakness, even if they're not addressing it, and they resent you for it. And it's like we just have to be really true to our own essence, our own aura. That is somebody else's problem. All we can
exactly,
do is send them love,
yeah.
right?
Make it your
And just when we're in that proximity with them, just be the love. And if they feel it, they feel it. If they don't, they don't. It's their journey to take.
right. You're not responsible for anybody else in the end. You're
Exactly.
for you. And we have to be careful. We also don't give our energy away. We've had
Mm.
an experience where a friend comes with their troubles and cries on our shoulder, and after an hour later they feel great and say,
And
"Oh
you're
my
drained. Yes. They were piranhas, and you're wondering why you're completely
God."
deflated. Yes.
And we've had the opposite, a wonderful exchange with others, and we both feel like we're on top of the world
Yeah.
because we are meant to
Yeah.
exchange energy with each other. When we're talking about protecting, we're not saying hold out the good.
No.
We want that loving exchange, just not the stressful ones.
Right.
Feel someone has pulled on you, there's a good time to just step back. And again, if you're meditating regularly, then right away in that meditation, cut it loose.
Yeah.
Yeah, this did get under my skin. They said this, that, and the other thing, and it just something tripped me. Okay, tripped you. What do you say? You fall down, you get right back up again. Don't belabor it, but cut it loose the quicker you can, so that again, as you said at the very beginning, it doesn't have a chance to build, doesn't become a snowball going down a mountain.
Right. And I think we also have to understand is that we all have an energy signature, right? And, I'm always drawing the analogy that, our discovery of what our instrument is, learning how to play it. We could be a soloist, but however, when we join an orchestra, each one in our own strengths need to play harmoniously together.
Right.
Right. And not every instrumentalist is going to match every orchestra. You've got to find your orchestra where you can harmoniously play together without it compromising your own gift. But it's knowing what your gift is, where it's best placed, because it's not always kind of one size fits all.
Well, and it goes back to understanding where your strengths are.
Yeah.
And sometimes parents make a mistake. They try to mold their children in their own image, right? And really not letting them be themselves. And there is a sorting out. When I was very young, well, I thought I was going to be, well, first I thought I was going to be in classical music, then movies, but then it led to spirit. So it wasn't I didn't have talent in these other areas, but it wasn't, if you want to use that word, but you're kind of doing like my niche.
Hmm.
But find it, you've got to try stuff. There was a film school in Europe where they had every student come in. They all had an idea what they wanted to be, cinematography, directing,
Hmm.
writing, but they made them do everything,
Yeah.
right? All the different arts, and 50% of the people changed their specialty.
Yeah.
Once they started to do it, then they realized, oh, I love it, or oh no, this isn't for me.
This is really my instrument. That one isn't, right? Yeah.
And then you find the people and situations that are best suited for that. Yeah.
Yeah.
And you don't try to be the best you. I mean, you may admire somebody, gosh, I
Mm.
love the
Yeah.
way,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I'd like to be like, but that may not be your destiny, but you want to be as good as what you do as what they do and what they do.
Yeah, I believe that inspiration begets invitation. So you may be inspired by someone, but the invitation is how have they inspired you to bring that essence out in you, not to compare or be them,
Right,
but to
right.
find that within you.
You're right. And that's really the meaning of what we might call hero worship.
Hmm.
We may have hold an ideal of something, but it's not to just be that person, it's to be ourselves in that.
Yes.
And even I guess in families, younger and older, or I may want to be like my dad or my mom or what, we have ideals and that helps us to give a picture. But in the end, we are creating our own reality and we are creating our own destiny, which has in a sense been set in motion even before we stepped on this earth.
Yeah.
You know, and the goal is to not taste every wine in the world before we die, but to fulfill what we came here to do. And there is nothing more satisfying than that. Um,
One of the things that I'm very passionate about is children. And it's a shameless plug here going to be, but I produced a book this year called Our Forgotten Children, which is an anthology, everybody contributing to it from different walks of life, whether they're working with parents or with children, autism or whatever, but where the system is wrong and what we need to put right. And I think if we could take the essence of our children in their beautiful self-discovery and keep watering that, keep having them explore, giving them the different instruments to play and discover what their niche is, what they really are passionate about, instead of making them conform and obey and diminish the beautiful essence, we would have a better society. So, as
oh,
much as we're in discovery, I want our children to continue to be in that discovery and not be suppressed by the system.
well, what's the expression? Give me the first 7 years of a person's life and you can
Hmm.
have the rest, right?
Yeah.
Because interesting enough, I don't know if whoever said this was aware, the auric energies are set at age 7.
Mm.
Or 7 things are very pliable because they have to be. The child has to learn so much,
Yes.
but if you do set the right energies into motion,
Hmm.
now it's not like you can't change after 7. Of course you can,
Right.
but there is more effort involved. Someone just told me the other day they work with kids, and this one kid was trying to um, use the magazine was open, and they were trying to turn the page like they were swiping a screen,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
They were
Yes.
not used to tactile things. They were
Exactly.
used and that's not good for the brain.
No.
You want to touch this. You want this.
Mm.
When you're young, you're creating brain patterns with that. There'll
Mhm.
be plenty of time for this computer thing later.
Exactly. Exactly. And there's nothing to kind of beat. a child in your arms reading a book, snuggled together,
Yeah.
right? And it's
Playing the
turning the
block, putting
page
your
and
fingers in paint and all
yes,
things.
yes.
So yeah.
Yeah,
That's
mud pies and all of that. It's and we're losing that a lot because the worst thing you can do is give a child your phone.
no,
It literally is changing their brain waves and is actually a form of brainwashing. And we are diminishing their ability
right.
to create, to absorb, um,
But
to
there's a
learn.
for parents, right?
Mm,
How do you say, oh, I'm so busy right now. They're screaming, here, just do this.
yeah.
You know, so because also a lot of the parents are really busier
Mm,
than now. So, and then all the stuff that we learned during the pandemic, right? About how children, their education went,
yeah.
when, because also the parents didn't, well, partly it was just a constriction. They weren't able to be with their children, but sometimes the parents were working or whatever. And how were they able to help their child?
Balance. Yeah.
There wasn't all that going. So, no, but you take care of the children, you take care of the future of your
I
civilization.
agree. I agree. And it's never ever too late to be in your own self-discovery. I don't care how old you are.
Yeah.
It is all about I've lived my life of conformity. I've obeyed. I've had the 2.2 children. I still never know how to work that one out. And the picket fence and all of that. Um, I've done what a society expected of me, but I'm still feeling empty and I still don't have any joy. What's wrong? Because you're not connected, right? You're too busy doing and obeying that you are not being and allowing.
And also maybe you needed to go through that to
Mm,
accomplish things, but now you're moving to another phase of your life,
yeah,
right? So we may retire from a job that we've done well, but we're not retiring from life.
no,
And if we look at our Manly Hall, the spiritual philosopher said, we sometimes as we get older, we look at our life as a law of diminishing return. And that's not the truth. Sophocles wrote his greatest play at 94 years old, just
yeah,
before he died,
yeah.
right? So you want to keep maturing. And the fact that people are living longer now, I know they're worried about, well, I'm going to have enough money when I'm older, but actually it's an
That's the
opportunity.
next book. Forgotten Seniors.
Is how do you take time, the value of that, because this is the time where you can put even more attention into your spiritual life. And there's a Hindu philosophy about there's like four stages. There's the child stage, the young man or young woman seeking their whatever, the
Mhm,
family stage, and then the spiritual stage.
mhm.
And it was like, okay, like just like you said, I've raised a great family, I've created a great life. Okay, I've done all that. But I know there's another part of me that needs that expression. So now give yourself that time. We have a lot of people in our classes that are more mature and
Mhm.
they've accomplished a lot in their life, but exactly like you said, they're feeling, no, there's got to be more. This is
Yeah,
not, I'm not
yeah.
where I think you know, I'm happy with what I accomplished, but I don't feel it's enough.
And they're lucky now because I was born very spiritual, but there was nothing to support it at that time. It was more kind of suppress it, don't let people know you can do this or you know, see this or do that, because it was, kind of, worried about the white coats coming to take you away, haha, right?
Oh,
Um, and, we're in an era now where we're asking people, please open up and allow this wisdom to come in. Allow yourself to have these divine experiences, because then you'll truly understand the spiritual human journey, not just you've been living the human journey, but the spiritual human journey is absolutely divine. And now we are here like you are doing, showing people how to make that connection. You know, over your 40-year career, I'm sure that you have had many a time of ridicule along the way of, oh, a whole lot of hoo-ha, Willy Wonka stuff and all of that type of thing. And it's, you know, but, all sorts of things. And now it's like,
what do you?
the wind is at our back, finally.
Yeah, because of all the momentum, and it is a spiritual renaissance now. We are,
Yes,
I mean, to be talking like this on
yes,
would have been unheard of back then. And
exactly.
Barbara has so many stories because in growing up in the Depression era,
Hmm.
boy, seeing auras and things like that. Imagine like that. There's no book, she said, nothing on there,
Nothing. Hmm.
and thought I
And
was
who do you talk to? because
Yeah.
nobody knows what the hell you're talking about. What do you mean
Exactly.
you play with dead people? So people are lucky today because it is not only acceptable, it's encouraged. And people are beginning to understand that that is the true experience of living this human life as a spirit. You know, the spiritual being, that beautiful essence of that divineness in that humanness. You're just that merging.
Right.
Everything, the taste, the touch, the feel, the understanding is so much more heightened,
Hmm.
right? Rather than just living what I call the humanoid life.
Humanoid. Interesting choice of words.
Because so many people robotically go through life doing
Yeah.
what's expected of them and they're just not connected at all and wonder why, they're always feeling empty. We have to ignite our heart and soul and our spirit to truly understand what living is about.
Well, hopefully that dissatisfaction eventually urges them to
Yeah.
break that monotony that they're in. Yeah, the minute life feels monotonous, then you
Mm,
know something wrong.
yes.
You don't have to be president of a country, but
No.
you feel very driven in what you're doing and very connected. But that's up to you. The connection is already there, but you can feel disconnected. So, and if you can be alone, but not lonely, right?
Yeah.
So all these things can be going on, but the minute we just realize, I know I'm quoting a lot Barbara right now because also I'm honoring her as she just transitioned. She always would say, "Do you want to be the victim or the master of your life?"
Hmm.
And anytime we're pointing the finger and we're saying the problem's here, here, and here, we're just victimizing ourselves.
Yeah.
So the point is take control, be the master of your fate, take responsibility for the good and the bad, and just recognize you have this immortal spark within you that is inherently good. You're part of an incredibly magical part of a living universe.
Yeah.
And the more you're a part of it, and there has never been a better time to grow spiritually than today.
Exactly. I wrote my memoir last year, and it was kind of quite an interesting journey in reading it back because I realized, and my brother edited for me because he's a literary major, gosh, a lot of loneliness here. And the loneliness was when I was in spirit, I never felt alone. And when I was with the universe, never felt alone. But I did as the humanoid because I just felt that I couldn't be the spiritual person in the human realm at that time. And it always felt such a disconnect that I couldn't be a part of that world because this world wasn't yet accepted. And but now we're in this world where we're asking people to step into that essence of their beautiful divine selves. Because if we want peace, if we want love, if we want tranquility and exuberance in our life, if we want an enrichment and abundance, we have got to become it. And
Right?
that is how we collectively are going to change the aura and the vibration of this world. We're not going to stop the wars by war. We're not going to stop the greedy with, ranting and raving. We're going to stop all of that by stepping up into that love, into that higher frequency of consciousness, and becoming part of the solution collectively in that higher energy.
Right, right. And we do have to realize when you're pioneering something, what do they say? The seed is planted in darkness.
Yes,
So
yes.
you are the one sometimes crying in the wilderness.
Hmm.
That's not forever.
No,
That's part of the journey of, breaking new ground.
right.
And what we're seeing now is the result of all that.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's not
Exactly.
finished yet. It's still unfolding. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And it's passing the baton on, isn't it, to others to kind of keep on watering, keep on seeding,
Oh, she,
and but allow the growth. Don't tug at the roots. Don't demand that they be this and that. Allow them to grow and see what does grow, because that particular growth is generally very different to what you thought it would be, and always so much more.
oh, isn't that, well, life's an adventure. If you know what's
Yes.
in the corner, that's not adventurous.
Yeah, exactly. I talk about fear and wonderment. We have the common sense fear, which is, don't walk in front of a bus, don't put your hand in the fire, all that type of thing. And if we have common sense fear going with us, keeping us out of danger, but step into wonderment of what if instead of the fear of what if, we would see so much more and explore so much more and rise up so much faster.
Right. And realize you have the strength to do it. You know, the
Yeah.
hero journey that Joseph Campbell spoke of, the mythology that's in all the traditions. It's not easy for the hero. It's
Hmm.
accomplished easily. I mean, the Lord of the Rings, right? I mean,
Yes. Yes.
probably bring in a lava pit, but spend
Yes.
like 9 hours of the movie trying to do that.
Against all odds, the
Yeah,
smallest little person, right? Not a warrior, not a soldier, just
exactly.
somebody who understood the assignment.
Right, right.
Yes.
So don't give up.
Yeah.
Don't let life beat you down in that way. You know, even if
But,
you think, yeah,
like Frodo had Sam, and that is find your Sam in your world because there's going to be times when you're in doubt, when you're tired, when you
hmm.
want to give up. And that's when you need that person around you. Let me
Well,
carry you while you carry the burden and help you get back up. And so the company you have around you, make sure they do see you and your role in life because their role is to support you.
well, you want to find like-minded people, and
Yes.
it's not we're not on the journey alone, right? So
No.
you want there are our brothers and sisters in light, and yes, there's nothing better than fellowship and light.
Yeah,
The ties of blood run deep, but the ties of spirit run deeper, and
exactly.
we are going to need that fellowship to be
Hmm.
able. Interesting when we first started teaching, it was only local physical
Hmm.
classes, and there was this natural camaraderie because you're physically with each
Hmm.
other, right? In 2006 when we opened up the internet, yeah, a much wider group of people, but there is more effort because, well, where are you calling from? Yeah, yeah, you're calling from where you're calling from. I'm calling from Southern
Exactly.
California. Yes, there's a fellowship, but it's a little more effort because we're not actually in the same room together. You know,
And but the energy is still the energy.
yeah,
It's wonderful when you're actually in the same room because there is that touch and there is that eye to eye, but going through machinery to do it. But energy has no boundaries, it has no distance.
that's the
And
advantage.
when it connects, it connects.
Right, right. No, I was amazed when we were able to even do the internet classes
Mm.
and actually make those spiritual connections. And those days, the connections were not very good. We were lucky if we could get through a session without it breaking down once or
Yeah,
twice.
the dial-up. Yeah, I know. Yeah, exactly.
Now we're like, look at this, it's been seamless, right?
Absolutely. And that, yes, technology, AI, all of that has its place. For me, I look at it as a tool that's going to allow us as human beings raise up higher in our consciousness because it's going to go and do the work that's taking our time,
Right. Oh
right?
yeah.
So we can concentrate on the things that we see as matter, and they're going to do the mundane work for us,
I
right?
just see some of the programmers, they just spend a little more time away from their computer.
Yes, I agree. Somebody was 8 days a week at it. I've
Yeah.
moved them closer to grandsons. They take 3 days now. I'm only 3 days a week. So balance is important. But I think, it's back to crystals and meditation and all of that. Meditation, in whichever way you do it, it's coming home to center, coming home to self, coming home to one voice, so to speak, not the chatter. Taking the breath and feeling it where it rejuvenates you. And it's not rejuvenate you where you suddenly can go run a marathon. It rejuvenates you where you feel aligned and calm and able to receive whatever is coming next. And whatever crystals can help you along that way, it's definitely worth learning which crystal can do what because you are going to feel, they love areas being a bit challenged right now. What do I need? The tolerance level is needing something else. So, money is the situation at the present moment, or health is. And those crystals are there to kind of help us tap into that energy, right? They're kind of a conduit.
Well, again, I definitely recommend them in meditation
Yeah.
and wearing like a purple amethyst can help bring you peace.
Hmm.
Wearing the turquoise stone can help in the manifestation of prosperity. So definitely having around you. But again, if I'm leaving kind of the audience or your listeners with just the meditation, make sure you're meditating.
Yeah.
Make sure you're giving time for that.
Find your path to that meditation. Now, how do people get hold of the book? How do they get hold of you? And what is it you are offering them on this journey of meditation?
All right. So um, the nonprofit is Spiritual Arts Institute. It's spiritualarts.org. The book, Change Your Aura, Change Your Life, is available on Amazon, Barnes& Noble, and many independent bookstores right now. And we have many other books as well. This is part of a series. We do workshops, and we have a comprehensive program called the Seven Spiritual Arts, which is a 2-year live training in the mystic arts themselves, kind of combining a lot of what we talked about and other things as well. And gosh, I hope it's on the website right now, but I believe there's a free meditation available for meditating with prosperity, bringing in the turquoise.
We all need some of that.
Yeah.
Because those are areas that definitely are challenging people right now. And I think that the challenge of just survival of living right now is a kind of a lesson for us to really look at our lifestyle and to realize that less is more. We can live with less, and that, this whole thing of everything blown up financially, beyond expenditure is to look at the real value of money. It doesn't buy you happiness, right? It
Right.
can set the stage for you to find happiness, but it doesn't buy it for you. And it is yet again a tool. The true enrichment and abundance is when your heart, soul, spirit, and body and mind are at one with each other.
Great, great, great. All right.
Thank you so much for sharing here today. People just reach out and learn about the crystals, because you kind of think, well, I try to meditate, but the crystals will give you that energy, that help to focus in. They are beautiful. I noticed that you have the pink lamp behind you. Forgotten what they're called.
Correct.
I have one of those as
Himalayan
well.
crystal. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
And
salt crystal.
yes,
Yeah.
the salt crystal, that's it.
Yeah.
And we need all the help that we can get, because we've also got to remember there is so much electronic around us today in absolutely everything. And sometimes it's hard to break through that. So you need the tools and the things that are going to help you override that and find your frequency, find your spiritual frequency, and be able to identify it and always be able to go home to it. And so we need all the help that we can get. So please do reach out to Dimitri, get the book for a start, and then reach out to these programs, because the spiritual journey isn't a downloadable app. It isn't something that, oh, I'm going to be spiritual now. It is a journey. And the more you immerse yourself into it and the more it feeds you and nourishes you, you'll realize it will be a lifelong journey, because there's always so much to learn. And that's the beauty of it, is where is it going to take you today? What are you going to see today? What are you going to feel today? But it's that wonderment of exploration that is wonderful.
Well, thank you. Thank you. Thank you for having me on today. It's been a
My
real.
My pleasure, my pleasure. So everyone out there, please, we need you to raise that spirit. We need you to raise that consciousness. We need you to step into your own beautiful, loving, spiritual essence, because you are the solution to the earth's problems as well as to your own. Until next time, folks, bye for now. We hope that you enjoyed the show. There are so many more for you here on selfdiscoverywisdom.com. Just go to the podcast tag at the top there and you will see all the many genres and all 3,000 shows ready for your listening. We are here to serve you, to help you on your journey of life, and we know that through inspiration it begets invitation. We are supported by you, the listeners, and those that we interview. Anything that you can spare us in donation would be greatly accepted, and we do hope that you enjoy the next show.